Imagine being offered $10,000 for a simple boat ride. It sounds too good to be true, right? For three American friends, it was. That offer led them into a world of drug smuggling, shipwrecks, and a fight for survival in a Mexican prison. How did they go from beach bums to escaped convicts? It all started in 1972 when Mike Cook, May Stanley, and Paul Smith set off on a beach adventure in Mexico. They were young, carefree, and looking for excitement. But their fun came to a sudden halt when their boat broke down in Mazin, Mexico. Stranded with only $300 to their names, they faced a tough decision. Desperate times call for desperate measures, right? The trio decided to buy and smuggle hashish, thinking they could sell it back to the US for a big profit. But as they walked past a police officer with their illegal cargo, their hearts raced. Would they get caught? Or would this risky move be their ticket home? Their hearts may have stopped racing, but the real danger was just beginning. A hidden surfboard, a tempting offer, and a boat journey gone wrong. How could these seemingly small choices lead to a desperate struggle for survival on a Mexican beach? The friends thought they were clever, hiding their hashish inside a surfboard. It seemed like the perfect plan, using their surfing background to their advantage. But little did they know, this was just the beginning of their troubles. Enter the Sierra brothers. These guys weren't your average beach bums. They were major players in the hashish smuggling game. When they offered our trio $10,000 each to help smuggle a massive amount of hashish back to America, it sounded like the opportunity of a lifetime. Easy money, right? Wrong. What our friends didn't realize was the scale of the operation they were getting involved in. The Sierra brothers had purchased a ton of hashish for about $30,000, planning to flip it for a cool $300,000 in the US. That's some serious cash and some serious risk. The group set off on their journey, probably feeling pretty good about themselves. But on day 7, everything went sideways. Their boat hit something unseen in the water, and chaos erupted. Before they knew it, they were watching their vessel sink into the depths. Imagine the panic. There they were, treading water, surrounded by nothing but open ocean. Somehow they managed to make it to shore, but their relief was short-lived. As they stumbled onto the beach, they realized their belongings had washed up too, including bags and bags of hashish. Now picture this scene. A group of bedraggled Americans, frantically digging in the sand, trying to bury as much hashish as possible. Why? Because if any locals found that much drugs on the beach, you bet they'd call the police. But their luck was about to run out. As they were busy playing beach excavators, some villagers spotted them. The group had to think fast, trying to distract the villagers while their friends continued burying the evidence. Just when they thought they'd managed to escape the beach and avoid detection, their worst fears came true. The police intercepted them. As the police handcuffs clicked shut, these Americans had no idea they were about to enter hell on earth. Could anyone survive, let alone escape, a place where even hardened criminals fear to tread? The friends found themselves thrust into a world they never imagined. A Mexican prison that was more like a concrete jungle than a correctional facility. Picture this: overcrowded cells, constant noise, and the ever-present threat of violence. This wasn't just any prison. It was a place where gangs ruled, and new inmates were left to fend for themselves. Our trio of beach bums turned drug smugglers quickly realized they were in way over their heads. The reality of their situation hit hard. Long sentences for drug smuggling loomed over them like a dark cloud. Can you imagine the despair they felt? One day they were dreaming of easy money and adventure. The next they were fighting for survival in a place where hope seemed like a distant memory. But these guys weren't about to give up. Inspired by the movie The Great Escape, they hatched a daring plan. It was crazy, it was dangerous, but it was their only shot at freedom. They decided to dig their way out. Now, this wasn't some Hollywood movie where everything magically falls into place. This was real life, and it was brutal. They had no fancy tools, no elaborate equipment. All they had was a stone and butter knife. Can you believe it? A butter knife against solid concrete. For 6 long weeks, They chipped away at the floor of their cell. Hour after hour, day after day, they worked in secret, always afraid of being caught. Their hands were raw, their bodies ached, but they kept going. Freedom was worth any price. Finally, after what must have felt like an eternity, they broke through the concrete. But their excitement was short-lived. What they found beneath wasn't the path to freedom they'd hoped for. Instead, they were faced with muddy, waterlogged ground. It was like a punch to the gut. They tried to dry out the mud, but it was impossible. The water just kept coming. It seemed like their escape plan was literally sinking before their eyes. But these guys weren't quitters. They'd come too far to give up now. They knew they needed help, and they found it in the most unlikely place. Another inmate named Benny. They promised him rewards if he could fix the broken pipe causing the flooding. Benny was reluctant at first, but he agreed. It was a pivotal moment. Would Benny be their savior, or would he be the one to bring their whole plan crashing down? With Benny on board, the escape plan gained new life. But as they dug deeper, the challenges only grew. What if the tunnel collapsed? Or worse, what if they made it out only to find themselves trapped in a foreign country with no way home? The trio's determination was put to the test as they faced the harsh realities of digging through concrete. It wasn't just about breaking through. They had to be careful not to make too much noise or leave obvious traces of their work. Every chip, every scratch could give them away. Rainstorms added another layer of difficulty. The water threatened to flood their tunnel, potentially washing away weeks of hard work. They worked tirelessly, using whatever materials they could find to shore up the walls and keep the water at bay. It was a constant battle against nature and time. As the day of the escape drew near, tension reached fever pitch. The plan was simple in theory. Crawl through the tunnel, sneak past the guards, and make it to the getaway cars. But in practice, it was anything but easy. Picture this. 3 men, hearts racing, crawling through a narrow, dark tunnel. Every sound, every movement would be their last as free men. The fear of getting stuck or running out of air was real, but the promise of freedom kept them pushing forward. Finally, they emerged from the tunnel, but their ordeal was far from over. Now came the most dangerous part, walking past the guards. They disguised themselves as best they could, but would it be enough? Each step felt like an eternity as they tried to act casual, praying the guards wouldn't look too closely. By some miracle, they made it past the guards, but their relief was short-lived. When they reached the first location where the getaway cars were supposed to be waiting, they found nothing. Time was ticking. Every second they spent out in the open increased their chances of being discovered. They had to make a decision. Stay and hope the cars would show up, or risk moving to the next location. The 3 friends split up after their daring escape, each facing their own uncertain future. Despite the chaos, they managed to make it back to the U.S. without trouble at the border, still holding their passports. The Sierra brothers who helped them escape were wanted for drug trafficking in America, adding another layer of risk to their already dangerous situation. Benny, the inmate who assisted them, received hashish as a reward for his help. This escape story raises thought-provoking questions about the lengths people will go for freedom. What would you do in their shoes? How far would you push the limits of trust and survival? As each escapee navigated their own path, their story reminds us of the power of personal choice in the face of adversity. What do you think about their decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more incredible true crime stories.